Kia ora everyone, my name is Tracey Panek and I come from Aotearoa, New Zealand. My waka, or the canoe my family comes from, is Ngāti Kamata. My mountain is Hikurami, my tribe is Ngāpui, and my parents are Reiki, Wihoni, and Edwin Austin. And when we get together as a group, we usually acknowledge each other with our ancestors by telling where we're from and who what the features are in the lands where we come from. And so I'm happy to share that with you today. I want to acknowledge all of the visitors that are here, especially those who are the Tamaki Whenua, the people of the land, who we share today and acknowledge them and their ancestors, and all those on the campus, administration, all of those who teach the students and visitors here. It's wonderful to be here and have an opportunity to share a little bit of the Maori culture with you today. And I would like to share a waiata with you, a song, and then we can share a hongi or a breath of life. Maybe there's a few representatives, two of you, a few representatives.
Welcome everyone. We're just performing a hongi with Tracey and the guests that are here today. And Tracey's asked us if we could all get into a larger circle. And feel free to get chairs and things. We'll fill in into a large circle because we will be sharing that way today. So perhaps the folks, the students here, who come around over here, you can just drag that over.
Thank you so much. Enjoy. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Whakarongo, which means to listen. We will, I want to spend the next little while that we have together sharing a little bit of Maori culture. And the Maori are the indigenous people of Aotearoa or New Zealand. Everyone know where that is? Way down south of Australia. It is considered part of Polynesia, part of the Polynesian Triangle. It's just the southernmost portion of it. So we share a language with a lot of our Hawaiian, Tongan, Tahitian relatives. So you'll recognize some of the same language words. We say aroha, which means love. You'll hear the same word in Hawaiian as aloha. The Maori have no R's, so have no L's, excuse me, we use R's in place of those. But what I thought we would do today, especially since there's a big group, I'll kind of be up here and I'll lead you through a few things and then we're going to get up and try some movement. The way that the Maori preserve our culture is through song and dance. And you'll notice as we came in, and I'll explain a little bit about what just happened as we came into the room, it's called a pōwhiri, or a formal welcome. And whenever a group of visitors come to a marae or an area where there are people who live in that part of the land, they are given this kind of a welcome. It usually begins by a woman giving a karanga, as Amara did this morning, calling the visitors on to the area where they were going to be gathering. Then there are speeches. We kept them short. The Maori speak a long time, and there will be lots of speeches, but we just kept it to a couple. And every time we speak, we always follow up with a waiata, or a song, which is what we did today. And then the same thing happens when we do any kind of performance. It's always done in song and dance. And so let me share some of those with you. I'm switching modes here because I just came from San Francisco from work. I should back up and say that UC Berkeley is my alma mater. I studied and got a degree in history here, and now in San Francisco I'm the historian for Levi Strauss & Company, which is why I have these lovely jeans on today. But the earliest songs and dances that we Maori preserve have to do with the voyages of our waka, or our canoes, across the Moana Nui Kiwa, the ocean. And so we sing songs about the great migration of canoes. And all of the Maori, all of those of us who identify ourselves as Maori, we connect to a particular waka, or canoe. So when I introduce myself by telling you who my parents were, what tribe I came from, and also what canoe, what waka I came from. So a lot of the songs and dances that we do relate to that waka. You'll notice that my accent is a little little different from others that you might hear in New Zealand, and that is because I immigrated very early to the United States with my mother and my sister, and my cousins back home in New Zealand refer to me as a Maori can, an American Maori, because I'm a hybrid of both. But I had 3 sisters, and the way that my mother kept us closely connected with the culture is through our singing and dancing. And I'm going to teach you a very early chant. It's all about the migration of the wakas, as I've been mentioning, and it goes very easily like this. When we do our numbers, we usually have a kaya, a caller, and I'm going to be the caller today, and you will all be the kapa, which is the group. And I will call, you'll respond, I will call, you'll respond, and that's an early way that we did our waiatas, or our chants, our songs. And in this waiata that I'm going to teach you, the only word you'll need to know is te waka. Say that with me. Te waka. Te waka. Let's do it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Te waka. Te waka, which means a canoe. Okay? Te waka. And I will call, and when I point to you, you're going to call out te waka. Okay? And then when we get to the end, we're going to hold it out. We're going to go te waka hi. Okay, try that with me. Te waka hi. We often end songs that we do with an exclamation, and that's what he is. And when I teach you an action song, which we'll do a little bit later on, it ends with he, and everybody joins that word. It'll be te waka hi. Yeah, try it with me. Te waka hi. Yeah, it's kind of fine with that exclamation there. Okay, let's try it. I'm the kaya. When I point out, you, the kapa, the group will respond. Good. Now listen, it's just te waka. We're not going to do the he to the very end. So it'll go like this, and you got to be a little quicker. It'll go toi mai, te waka, te urunga, te waka, kite moenga, te waka, kite takotorangai, takotoai, te waka hi. Yeah, see, it comes at the end like that. All right, let's try it again. We'll do it a couple of times, and then we'll have it down. Okay. Maori dance. We use our eyes very expressively. We call it a pukana, and this is a pukana. Big eyes, and they move around. You'll either lift your eyebrows, you'll either accentuate like looking at someone, or maybe back and forth. So I want you all now to give your best pukana, and do not be shy. Okay, everyone, pukana. Yes. We're going to try the chant again, and I want you to pukana. Men, I'll teach you something a little bit different in a minute. You pukana as well, but you're also going to do something else called a putero. Involves your tongue. We'll do that in a minute. We'll start with pukana, okay? All right, so what will happen is I'll call the chant. Pukanas are not choreographed, and what I mean by that is you do it when you feel inspired to do it. Keep the rhythm, and it might be but you just do your pukana when you feel, you just do your pukana. You can add a few he's, absolutely men. You can add a few exclamations in there. It just adds to the momentum, okay? Let's try it. man, you would also do a putero, which means you would stick your tongue out as far as it can, thrust it out. Women do not do this, but the men do that, and it's a way that they emphasize anything they want to do. Okay? So if we're doing a chant like that, the men, at any time they feel so moved, would also do a putero. So you can see a putana or a putero. Either one. The other thing you'll notice, whenever we dance and our palms are open, we do something called a fitty. And this is a fitty. Okay, it's like a palsy with our hands. We do it with both. If our hands are not in a fist, we do a fitty. And if you've looked up into the trees and you've seen wind blowing through the trees, you'll see that motion. It reminds us that we're alive. So when we dance, we always fitty. And I like to think, if you've been to New Zealand, you've visited, it's a lot like San Francisco in the summer. It can get cold. It's very easy to do this when you're outdoors and it's, cold on a rainy day. But usually we do it like this. And you get used to, I can usually look at someone and tell, are they right-handed or the left? Depending on how well they do their fitting. Okay? I'll teach you a few actions, and if your palms are open, do that fitting with me. Okay? All right. So here's, when I teach younger groups, I always bring some pictures, and there's such a lot of you. I'm going to do my best with this, holding it up, but you're going to have to think about these in your mind. The dances that we do, the waiata aringa, which literally means song of the hands. The ringa ringa, these are our ringa ringa. Our hands, and a waiata is a song. And waiata aringa, a song of the hands, is literally a storytelling song. It's the way we share something, and today the story we're going to tell is a story of our being together and a welcoming of each other here in this space. Okay, so let me show you a few actions that you will see regularly when you do Maori performance, and then we'll learn an action song. We'll get up and we'll do it together. We'll add a little chant. Do some putana and putana. How's that? Yes, good. Okay. All right, I brought my visuals, and this is just to help us. The first one is karanga. Whenever you see a karanga, this is a mountain, you can't see it, it's a mountain. A karanga is what we had as we came in, and that's a call from a woman. And the way you do an action for a karanga is you simply hold your hand to your mouth. This is a karanga. You might hold one hand to the mouth and one hand out if you're calling a specific group. Switch, like this, okay? Karanga. Or both will be at your mouth for a karanga. Okay, so let me see your karanga. Now let's see a karanga to the right. Karanga to the left. Yep, that's karanga, okay? So if I hold this up, you know what karanga means. Okay? Haidamai, we're going to do this one repeatedly. Now, this is a picture of an arm holding, of an arm, and it's a little confusing. Let me tell you, this is the action. It is, you can do a right arm or left, but we'll try our right hand for now. We just make a kind of an L shape with our hand. The left hand comes down like this. Like this. We're doing a fitty. Okay? Haidamai on the right, and here's Haidamai on the left. Haidamai simply means welcome. Okay? Haidamai? Haidamai, good. Now, two other things I forgot to tell you. You'll know that this is important once we stand up and start doing some movement, and that is that there's a couple of action calls. One is kiraro, which means hands down on the side. Kiraro. Hyomo means hands on the hips. And that's really kind of an action to tell you, hey, get ready, we're getting ready, we're going to do a number here in a minute. Okay, so kiraro, hands down. Hyomo. The other word we sometimes use is hope, which means hips. So somebody might say hips, and that just means put your hands on your hips. If you're a man, your hands will be out so that you can see your fingers, but women, put your fingers behind. Okay? All right, Kyomo. All right, we did karanga, we did haidamai. Here's marae, which is just a building that you're looking here. All we do for a marae is we'll make a rooftop. Okay, so you put it together, you'll make a rooftop. And a marae is a building where people gather together. It can also mean the space, the larger space where the building sits. Okay? that marae is that community gathering area. I would consider the building that we're in today a marae. And we'll use that action in the song we're going to do. Okay, the next one is a symbol for love, or aroha, as we say it in Maori. And to make that action, we simply cross our hands over our heart. Like that. Aroha.
One hand.
Both hands cross. Like this. Okay? Usually we have the right hand on the top. But we're always doing a feet. Okay? That's aroha. Okay. Pukana. I talked about pukana. Let's see your pukana. Yeah, some people have really good eyes for this. Pukana. Whakarongo. Whakarongo. Do you remember as I was coming in, I asked you all to whakarongo, what does this mean? It means to listen. So we put our hands in our ears. Instead of karongo, where we're calling, our hands are going to our ears. And then we might have the other one straight out. The Maori tribes in New Zealand, just like here in the States and probably elsewhere, they have different accents depending on where they come from. For those who, like my brother-in-law, are on the West Coast, they would say WH, which is the way we write this word, whakarongo. They would say hua, like a whale. But where my people come from, in the northern part of the North Island, the Bay of Islands, we say WH like an F. So that's why you get that kind of sound. Okay, last one is a fidi, and we talked about that, the way we use our hands. Okay, fidi, everybody show me your fidi. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to quiz you. I'm going to hold a few of these up, and then we're going to put them together, and then we're going to get a few to stand. We'll take turns and see what we do.